So the next team in this long list, my God, 10 franchises now, is Lucknow Super Giants. Now, Lucknow Super Giants starts off with two major weaknesses. One is the name Super Giants, which has been associated with the Pune franchise before. And then KL Rahul as captain. Because I think KL Rahul hasn't been very effective as a captain. And it could be because of the administration that he was under. But whatever it is, KL Rahul as a captain, some doubts as to the effectiveness of KL Rahul as a captain, not a batsman, but as a captain. Now, as a Bengali, I think Bengalis are torn whether they should make this the franchise that they support this year, given that the owner is RPG Goenka, which is one of the industrial houses that are still based out of Kolkata, which is like seen Tyrannosaurus Rex in the middle of Chaurangi in this day and age, to have an industrial house which is based out of Calcutta. So there's a good reason to support the Lucknow Super Giants. There is Gautam Gambhir, longtime captain of Kolkata Knight Riders, who's the mentor there and who's been the only person under whom we've actually won twice. So yeah, there's a special connection that we in KKR fans have with Gautam Gambhir. So there's good reasons for us to kind of jump ship and go and support Lucknow Super Giants this year. And then, of course, there's Kolkata Knight Riders, who seems to disappoint us every time. But Kolkata Knight Riders might have tipped the scale this time by selecting local boy Anukul Roy. I don't know. I'm still going to be rooting for Kolkata Knight Riders, but wow, what a team has Lucknow Super Giants assembled. So for the draft, they again, one of the new teams, so they didn't have retentions, they had drafts. So they had KL Rahul, who they took from Punjab Super Kings and appointed as captain. They took Marcus Stoinis and they took Ravi Vishnoy. It's a very interesting selection, but smart, I would say. So their opening, so their 11 kind of looks like this. So they have KL Rahul, the captain, and their icon player opening. Again, last two IPL seasons, he's been head and shoulders above the rest, and surely in terms of runs accumulated. Now, some people may feel that his strike rate isn't. I mean, it's a problem. That strike rate is a problem. That when somebody scores so many runs, like make 70 runs, they expect that the strike rate would be much higher than what his is. And that, his scoring all these runs and consuming all these deliveries puts pressure on the other batsmen. But whatever it is, the sheer volume of his runs speaks for his value to any franchise. So there's KL Rahul. And then the other guy, the person he's going to be opening with, it's also like, wow. He is Quentin de Kock, who's again the first choice. And if he's not available, there is Evan Lewis, which is pretty much as a like-for-like replacement as you can get. So this is, again, a dream opening combination. Then in one down, you have Manish Pandey. Then I think next up, you have Marcus Stoinis, again, the second overseas slot. You have Deepak Hooda and Krunal Pandey as their finishers. You have Holder, who's the third overseas slot, very versatile all-rounder, extremely valuable player. And then you have Indian kind of spinning all-rounder. You have Gautam or Nadeem. I think Nadeem would be a little stretched to consider him an all-rounder, but bowler. Gautam is kind of a all-rounder. So Gautam / Nadeem. Then for the last overseas slot, you have bowler, you have Wood or Dushmant Chamira. And then you have Avish Khan and you have Ravi Vishnoy. Positives, it's an absolutely amazing team if you go through it. And the opening pair, I mean, how can you expect a better opening pair, at least on paper? I think that this would have been perhaps better if it was KL Rahul and, let's say, Joss Butler. But again, given what they had to work with, this was the best that Gambhir and his team could have selected. So you have KL Rahul opening with de Kock. De Kock brings with him experience, and he brings with him explosive batting power and, of course, wicket keeping. So Quentin de Kock and KL Rahul are a dream opening combination. KL Rahul, again, is arguably right now the best IPL T20 player statistically. I mean, he's the new Suresh Raina. They have a very well-balanced bowling, I would say. Avish Khan with Wood, Vishnoy with Gautam or Nadeem, and you have Holder, and you have Krunal Pandya, you have Deepak Hooda can kind of spin a little bit. So it's a very, very varied bowling attack. They have a very versatile bowling attack, different kinds of bowlers. Looks really well balanced. But the negatives is that, and I've gone through some of the analysis made by, and pretty much everybody says that Lucknow Super Giants looks like the best team. And I think it's true. On paper, they look the best team, but if you kind of want to be a little critical, you see that there are actually four openers there again. You have Rahul, you have Deacock, you have Evan Lewis, and you have Marcus Stoinis. And yes, you even have Manan Vora. So I think they have a kind of there are too many openers there in the overall side. Maybe this is a Gautam Gambhir thing, but there just seems to be a little bit too many openers there. And three of these openers are foreign. So I have my also doubts on Stoinis, because Stoinis does not bowl much. He hardly bowls nowadays. And his batting form in BBL was extremely patchy, to say the least. So given that they chose to retain him, which means he's playing, I don't think Stoinis kind of plays as an all-rounder. He mostly plays as a batsman nowadays. And I would have liked to see Stoinis opening the batting, because I think he's much more effective as an opener. Stoinis will have to come down late, because obviously he's not going to be able to get into KL Rahul or Deacock or Evan Lewis. I mean, these guys can't go down the order. So it obviously has to be Marcus Stoinis who will have to go down the order. So overall, I think that going down the order isn't the best place for Marcus Stoinis. Then, of course, their one down is Manish Pandey. Manish Pandey has, I'd love to watch Manish Pandey bat when he's in full flow, and he used to play for KKR for a long time. So I have watched him bat, but the problem with Manish is that he's just very inconsistent. He'll have a few of his days when he bats like a dream, but it'll be few and far in between. And mostly what you will find are middling performances, deliveries being wasted, and innings which bring the entire side down. And this is again one of the reasons why I believe that SRH did not retain him, which was a good decision, right, for them. I don't think that Manish Pandey had been spectacularly successful for them. But will he be different under a different management? I mean, Gautam Gambhir used to be his captain in KKR, so Gautam Gambhir definitely trusts him. So he might do better, but I would still say that, again, maybe he wouldn't be needed with the KL Rahul and Deacock opening the batting. But I have my doubts on Manish Pandey and the consistency that or rather the inconsistency he doesn't bring. So points, I would absolutely give 9 out of 10 for this team. I mean, looking through it, there's just virtually no weakness, very little weakness. There is what I just now said. But I would deduct 1 point for once it's a new team which is being assembled. So it takes time for a team to gel together, for everybody to know their roles. And I would, kind of split the -1.5 for being a new team and 0.5 for KL Rahul as a captain. Still not convinced he has the personality and the game smartness to carry through captaincy. He's a very good batsman. He kind of looks like kind of a little intellectual and pedantic when it comes to batting. I doubt whether he has the flair, the captaincy flair that I've seen Rishabh Pant. He has that flair in him. I don't think he's there. So let's see. Again, this could be that under new management he flourishes, and all of this punditry about him not being a good captain is essentially all, it's not correct. It was basically him under the management of Kumble and Punjab Kings that was responsible for him coming across as somebody who was not particularly strategy aware. Time will only tell. But again, 9 out of 10 for this they had a great auction, by the way. Lucknow Super Giants nailed the auction. But again, -1 for it kind of being a new team and kind of it still having KL Rahul as the captain. So one team left, and that team is Kolkata Knight Riders.